Hi, I'm Pooja. I am a research scientist by profession. I am currently a freelance consultant working from home, and I have two kids enrolled in EuroKids Vidyaranyapura. My eldest son is Aditya. He studies in Euro Junior, and my younger daughter has just joined in playgroup this session, and her name is Navya. So when I started as a first-time mother starting to look for schools, I looked at big schools, but what appealed to me in a preschool like EuroKids was that it will be a close-knit, almost a family type environment where teachers are very closely monitoring the kids, they are very closely associated with the kids, and there was a lot of personal care which I could see. And as a first-time mother who's clearly apprehensive, that appealed to me a lot. I had easy accessibility, and for the early learning foundation, I found that curriculum-wise they're very sound, they're not compromising on that, but they're taking a lot of personal care of every child, and that appealed to me, and that's why I went for preschool rather than the bigger schools. So I think the first thing was, because I had very young kids, was the security measures and whether the kids will be safe, looked after at all times, because they're too young. And that I think, given that they had external certification like a TUV NOD certification, and they had teachers and staff who were constantly involved on a day-to-day basis right in front of us, gave us a lot of confidence. The second thing I think which was non-negotiable for me was the teachers themselves and the type of curriculum they have. I can see clearly they're constantly reinventing themselves. They are rehauling the entire curriculum every 2-3 years, because my son has been here now for 2 years. Within that time they have rehauled everything and reevaluated it, come up with better ways of doing things. The play-based learning, the activities, everything is clearly top-notch. And the third thing I suppose which stood out for me in this particular preschool was the space. For a preschool to have this much amount of space available to the kids, and now you've even expanded, so there's even more space. My son is quite tall, he wanted to play around, he would need space, and I was almost going to put him into another preschool before this. And I came here by chance just to visit, totally not expecting to, go for this, because I was almost decided on that. But I was amazed at the amount of space that they have, like every room, the whole building, and now that building. So the kids are very happy that way. So yeah, that was also a non-negotiable for me. I may not have realized it pre-facto, but when I came here, I realized that my kids will be happy here. I enrolled my older kid, Aditya, at a much older age than normal, maybe around 3.5 or so, and he joined mid-session. And he joined in playgroup. For about 4 months he was in playgroup before he transitioned to nursery. We felt it was okay. He took a while to adjust, almost close to 6 months to 1 year, to feeling, genuinely happy to go and stuff. But the teachers here handled it with a lot of calm, with a lot of care. They did not push him very hard, but at the same time they were firm, and the only thing they maintained was that, look, be consistent in sending him, and they were absolutely right. He didn't dislike school. It was just a new environment for him. But one thing I noticed was they have a very nice structure of transitioning kids into school right at the beginning of the session, which we missed because Aditya came in the middle. And with Navya, that's why I started her off, even though she was only 2, I suppose, when she started. But we were very keen to have that transition in place, where for 1 or 2 days the parents come, then they gradually do it for 1 hour, 2 hours, and all of that, it's very well thought of. And a lot of effort, clearly a lot of effort and thought has gone into it, because to maintain that schedule for playgroup, nursery, Euro Junior, Euro Senior is a lot of work, okay? But they do it, and they do it with a smile, and that really helped kids. My daughter, true, every kid is different, but to be honest, she adjusted much faster because of that. So even though she was quite young, I was very keen on starting the session, in the actual session time when it starts. As far as the teachers are concerned, see, they're very professional, extremely professional. They give very good advice regarding education matters. At the same time, they're maintaining a lot of warmth, because these are very small children, so they cannot take that much of structure. And to be honest, neither can we at this time, okay? So we want that warmth, and they're delivering. Like every single day, somebody's standing with a smile. They know all the names, they know all the faces, they know the kids personally. And believe me, I cannot keep track of 2 children. So I don't know how they do it for so many. They do it every single day very cheerfully. In the PTMs, they know my kid personally. What the personality traits they're describing are not generic. They actually are specific to my child. So that's very heartening to parents like us, It's not just that they know them from a file. And that is why I came to a preschool. That is why I wanted that kind of attention, that kind of care to begin with, before they can transition to, sort of bigger things that will come. But this is something where EuroKids has delivered in spades, so we are very happy with that. So my son has been here now for 2 years plus. My daughter just joined. One thing which I have seen is my son has developed, he had learnt a lot of things by the time he joined. He was 3.5, but here he is getting a formal education, so to speak, without the structuring of a big school. But the teachers are very attentive, and for every like whether it is so they're reinventing their ways of teaching. They're doing activity based learning, they're doing it through practical examples. And what I like is, this system, they're not having formal subjects. They're not teaching it to the child as a subject, but they have something called a Sci Quest, Lit Quest, Math Quest. So, there is a demarcation, and the children are very gently introduced into this concept of different subjects. So I really liked that idea, and he doesn't understand it, but he comes and tells me that, in Sci Quest we did this, in Lit Quest, and that enthusiasm shows to me that he's really liking it. The teachers are doing a great job of teaching him. And for my daughter, the thing is, she's a quieter child, and when she joined, obviously she was young and communication is an issue at that time, but the teachers caught on very early what appeals to her and what doesn't. They understood that she needs some space by herself. She is a sort of a loner child, but at the same time, there are some things which appeal to her. They know how to get her to do certain things, and that emotional connect is not something everybody can form, but there are teachers who are forming it here, and they're able to appeal to her as young as she is and teach her things, which is great for me as a mother, because and the curriculum, as I said, has undergone an overhaul even in the 2 years that I have been associated with the school, and that is very heartening to see, because it's not like just because they're learning ABC, it need not be reinvented or it need not be taught in more innovative ways, and all the teachers participate in that. That's great to see. Yeah, I think that is definitely true. The progressive learning, the kind of environment that a preschool provides is very important in the early stages, because in my house the kids are two extremes. One is very noisy, very enthusiastic, and the other is fairly quiet and placid. But to both, I noticed one thing is that when my son joined in playgroup, and it was all about playing, everything was activity based, everything was play based, and he was happy. When the transition happened to nursery, the teachers didn't tell me anything, but I could see from his behavior that there are certain restrictions being placed very gently, but he is having some trouble with it, but he managed. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because when he went to Euro Junior after that, and those same restrictions increased further as they should, he didn't protest as much. So that progression which they did, from playgroup to nursery to Euro Junior was clearly very important to that child's psychology in understanding that some structure is required. It cannot all be, just playing. So that was very important, I think, and the amount of care with which it is done in a preschool is very important. Now my daughter is in playgroup, and that same progression will possibly follow for her. So I do feel that this prepares them much better for stepping out into a bigger world of education, where they'll go to a K-12 school and they meet bigger kids. But this progression which has happened, where they have been very gently introduced to structure, helps them understand that structure much better. The teachers are not just doing their job, they are genuinely living that job every single day, and to sustain that effort every day with a smile is a very, very difficult thing to do. As a parent, it's difficult for me to do for my own child, okay? They're doing it for so many children, and they genuinely care. Like, I have come to the teachers, to Brinda ma'am, with certain problems, and they've had a very balanced approach. They've neither blown it out of proportion, nor have they brushed it under the carpet. They have helped me deal with my own kid, as a parent, and guided me along as well. They've given me advice on, my son was actually on the cusp of this academic session, like he was born 24th June. So there is this thing about the policy, etc. Brinda ma'am gave me excellent advice about that. She reassured me, and I honestly felt that for the first time, somebody in education is actually giving me a clear-cut answer without beating around the bush, and also reassuring me that it's okay, whatever decision you take, it will be fine. And that was a very different approach that I saw. And even when the kids have had problems in school, they have approached it with a lot of professionalism. And at the same time, I do feel, I keep telling her that I don't feel like I'm sending him out to an external place. It's almost like it's another family, and that is very, very, that inspires a lot of confidence in parents like me, you know. We know what our kids are doing here without, to be honest, being given too much information, because it is important for the kids to sort of cut off and go somewhere for a few hours. At the same time, I have the security, you know, that the kid is well looked after. The most secure time in my day is the 3 hours my kids go to school. Not even with my mother, you know, it's in the school. So that is the endorsement that I can